Assalamu alaikum. So inshallah we're going to have some workshop sessions now, so it's really an opportunity for you to be able to engage in discussion. So we're going to have three of our brothers. Brother Aliasa Abdullah will be one of our workshop leads, inshallah. So if I can ask the brothers, inshallah, who are on table 1 here and table 2, if it is that you can turn your chairs around, then you will be the first group. The second group will be table 3 and table 4. And the 3 brothers is there in the back, in that table. Okay? So that's the second group. The second group will be led by Brother Hafiz, who is present already in the second group waiting for you. And the third group, so your topics are Muslims in prison, group 1. Group 2 is financial sustainability of Islamic work in the Caribbean. And the last group would be the brothers and the sisters who are here on this side. Your topic would be engaging technology for Islamic work. And your lead is Brother Khalid Ali, who is in the back. Brother Khalid, can you join your group, inshallah? So if you can make yourself around the table. Who's the person? Aliasa. So, Brother Imran, can you help organize the brothers around the table?
In a very strategic way. One, we have to identify what are the reasons why there are so many Muslims in prison. That's one. 2, perhaps we can also discuss what are some of the problems the Muslim experience while they're imprisoned. And 3, what proposals do we have to help our Muslim brothers, not only when they're imprisoned, when they are released from prison, how can they be helped? What services do we have to put in place so we can help our brothers live the life of a Muslim when they're outside the prison wall? That's my approach to the problem. I don't know what you think. Now quickly, you have half an hour. So brothers are now almost quarter past, it's 10 past 2. We want to finish about 20 minutes, 3. Do you agree with this 3-pronged approach?
Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Can I have my input, please?
Yeah.
Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. I lived in the United States for 24 years. 6 of those years, I did the FBI background check, which is a 40-hour program. To be able to go into the prison and do any sort of work, you have to go through the FBI background work, which entails if there's a insurrection, if there's any problem inside there, how do you react as a civilian? You know? So that was one part. Now the reasons, more than 50% of the prison population where I worked at, Lake Correctional Institute outside of Orlando, Florida, typically of African descent. The next major group, minority on the outside but majority on the inside, were of Hispanic origin. And the reason was because of mostly economic constraints on their part outside.
No, before you go, I'm asking for the beginning, are we agreeing with this approach to this topic? This approach in this way? Yes, brother.
It appears that silence indicates that we accept.
Okay.
And his first comment is just continuation of what he said.
Yes,
Personally, I agree. I think everybody is in order.
Okay, good.
Responded to you.
Yeah.
Because we are too much. If everybody give an idea for one subject of the 3,
say that whole premise that you have there is wrong. We'll throw it away, just as an imagination. And we're going to think on another type of line. The first thing of all, that Muslims are not broke and they are not poor and that they are wealthy. Because poverty can be redefined that if the person is not thinking right, he's going to be poor. But if he's thinking right, he could be very rich. Because we've seen where people who are very poor can make themselves rich, and we can see where people who are very rich can make themselves poor. In Belize, we have not gotten assistance from anyone, and sometimes people would imagine that the Muslims in Belize are poor. But the Muslims themselves in Belize, if you go and see their lifestyle, they are not. Because wealth of cash is only one type of asset that makes a person rich. Sometimes land, which is always available around in the world, is an asset. Sometimes ability is an asset. There's all types of things that are asset, but if you go to a person and tell him, oh, you are poor, he may believe it, but if you go to him and tell him that you have all these resources and assets and things, put them together, and you can have a comfortable life, a good life, that you have all the resources. Why? We have to believe as Muslims that first of all, Allah made us in the best mood. We have a good mind. He put us on a planet. This planet has everything that we need, oxygen, food.
Just philosophy. We understand the true point you're trying to make, so we want to try and make the point. We have a short time that we need to come up with solutions. Right? To make the point, okay, fine, but make the point that you want to make.
That Muslims are not.
Okay, fine. Well, what is the point? Where we go from there?
It's not. I think what he's saying is there's a lot of assets. The Muslims, they have assets. They have different skills and so on. But we are but we are challenged by having the liquidity.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Normal.
So it's
Because when you tell people they have,
The solution. What is the solution?
when you tell people they have and they can't, then they start to do things. If you tell them they don't have and they are poor, then they start to think, well, who can help us? And then,
There we go.
yes, you see there is a psychological thing. Because I'm trying to
Finally, deciding I want to walk and talk Islam. And a friend sending a message, something that they found online, talking about Islam in a negative way, very negative way. For example, saying that a woman is just property of the man and should do whatever the man wants once they are private, and if she doesn't want, then she can be, so on and so forth. So what was happening was that she was already getting back to where she came from, and it was even worse then. She wouldn't come back to Islam. And it was communicated to me, and I said, send me the source. And within a few seconds, I could identify that it wasn't an Islamic source. The name of the website is Islam something. But the way the phrasing and the wording was exposing that it wasn't written by a Muslim, and it wasn't written for a Muslim audience. Something like the Quran, the holy book of the Muslim. I mean, if we are Muslims, you don't have to explain that to me. And this is what is happening, and people searching for information, getting excited about Islam, searching for information and see this.
Crap. They use exactly some people who are in doubt or whatever. They use, even if there are 100 examples that something is forbidden, and they find one which is convenient to them, they will take that one.
yeah.
They will take that one.
I like that. Based on what we've been saying so far, it seems that we have a problem which could become very serious based on the technology. And part of our problem is combating that. Meaning, taking it up and carrying it on, just as Chrissy mentioned just now, because somebody sent it to him and he sent it to somebody. So I believe we need to get to the wider Muslim community, informing them of the response they should have to information like this. When they're not clear about it, do not pass it on. I don't know how we will do that, by getting the information on, so that people will become aware. Because yes, it could be a Quranic injunction, but how do we make the Muslims aware of the response they should have? right? Because when it comes to you, it's not a Quranic injunction, is some misguidance and dotishness, and we know either consciously or unconsciously passing it on. Why should I send it to you? Why would I send it to you? And that's the end. You know,
The system, you know, halal foods. That's
Okay, you know, going to some of the problems they experience while they're
yeah. This is
okay.
problems in prison.
But I want to mention one other reason why Muslims are in prison, right? Some of them, they can't get bail. They may commit a crime and they're there for 10 years and they don't have families who can bail them out, so they stay there indefinitely. So no bail, so they're there indefinitely. Right? So, Marshall, I think we should move on now. It's now, we have spent about 10 minutes on that one part of the topic. So we can go now. What are some of the problems the inmates experience? Right? Let's do another one.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Legal and constitutional counseling.
Okay,
You
legal
know?
help. Legal help. Right? Okay. Two, I think the scarcity of Islamic material and proper tutors to help them with their day when they're in prison, which also includes not having access to halal foods and so on and so forth. The Muslims who are there in prison, they don't grow Islamically because there is no material they can read. We were given some books in all different prisons here, and they are very, very, very few Islamic material available to inmates. So unless somebody tell you something, you can't check the authenticity of everything unless you know. So there's a scarcity of Islamic material. No Salah Jum'ah.
النقطة الثانية أن المشاكل
المشكلة في فرنسا في حرية التدين، يعني المسلم له حق أن يمارس دينه، وعلى إدارة السجن أن تسهل هذا. يعني له حق في أن يقرأ الكتب، وله الحق في أن يأتي شخص يصلي الجمعة أو أي صلاة معه في السجن، وله حق أن تعطى دروس. أنا أعطي دروس أسبوعيا، كل أسبوع ساعتين، كل أسبوع أعطي دروس للسجناء ساعتين كاملة، ثم نصلي ونخرج. فإذا احتاجوا إلى مصاحف القرآن أو إلى كتب دينية أو إلى سجادة الطريقة الإسلامية أو إلى
Okay, you have different mindsets. You have different relationships. Relationships. Because, let me finish this thought though, right? Because you have groups of individuals who are Muslims, right? When we know we all migrate for different reasons. And all our communities are a mixture, a meshmakan of cultures. And so they bring their cultures with them. And in those cultures, there may be embedded in those cultures and mindsets some discriminatory aspects. So we must first overcome that mindset that makes you think that you are better than me. You're no better than me. You're no different than me. We all bleed and we all use the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? So I think we need to overcome our cultural differences and unite around what is right and true, and that can move us forward.
What would tie all these together though is you need to start from a foundation. And so long as we have this Western ideology or Western concept of finance, it will keep us back. In the West, the idea to get ahead is to save. But from Islam, we know that trading, bartering, buying and selling is what really money. The more money moves, the more money makes, basically. So we need to educate the Muslims on Islamic financial principles and let them understand the haram in the interest. So that because so long as they see an alternative in going to the banks for the financial services, then they will never ever try to establish any institutions that are Islamic, that are earning halal means that will get them further. So education is education in basic Islamic financial principles.
Yeah, unity and purpose.
Just a minute. Let us not divert our attention from the topic we are supposed to discuss. It's still about the financial sustainability of Islamic work in the Caribbean. It's not clear about what we have to do in the various islands. I think about the group of islands coming together and then think about the ways the group, not what each island should do to propagate the work of Islam in each of these islands. What I think that we could do to help sustain the financial status of the Caribbean islands is one, we can form some kind of fundraising internationally. We try to, from this group of islands coming together, we can link ourselves with the international organizations outside the Caribbean islands, and we try to make some kind of fundraising. From there, we can invest this fund that we get from these international organizations into meaningful investments that will help to build, to propagate the work of Islam. That's number one. Number two, we can, from this group of islands coming together, we can form a committee. That committee should comprise people of different islands that should be meeting and try to disseminate the information of the importance of zakat. So when they establish this kind of zakat committee in the various islands, and they try to encourage the Muslims in each of these islands, whatever that you have, you give your zakat, or if you have some kind of contribution, you can give it from, you can give your contributions in the various islands. So from these various islands, they transfer these funds to the central fundraising group or the committee formed over here. That way, the financial status is going to increase with time. So when such a committee is established, with time we will have some kind of strong financial status so that we can use the funds raised to invest into factory, into industries, creating employment for our own people. That way, we will help also to sustain the financial status of the Caribbean. And also, we can also volunteer from our own self. Those who are well-to-do, they can also volunteer some kind of anything that they could help. If it is a financial contribution, in whatever ways that you can help or contribute to strengthen the financial status of the organization or the group of Caribbean islands, you could also come forward and then make your contribution.
So why are we afraid to get that?
One question, who was the leader of the Muslims?
The Muslims determine that. At the point, who's the leader of your household?
That's the point. That's the point.
You determine that.
In our country, who are we going to follow? In my country, I will follow my imam.
That is what first you need unity.
Yeah.
First you need unity.
Of course you need unity.
That is the issue.
How do you get there? How do you get there? We know that. How do you get there?
You make dua, for example. You ask Allah. Oh Allah. Read from among us. That's what every person knows. I am. You don't do it.
Read from
So
that's all right.
it's not my words, though. I'm just reminding what's there.
Allah have done it for us.
No, so I'm saying this is what we have to do if we really want to solve our problem.
But is this the only technology we want to talk about? Cell phones?
No, we're talking internet, WhatsApp.
All are the same kind of cell phone, email technology.
Rocket weapons.
We started there.
Technology.
We started there.
Nuclear weapons.
No. Hold it, mash breaks. We're talking about how they use the technology to enhance the dawah. That's what we're talking about. Not bombing anybody. We're talking that.
But and then they use technology to bring put this conference together.
Yes, they did. What? And it was beautiful, and it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
What are the technologies that we need in other spheres? Okay, if we say,
Well, your friend.
we want to do a book, are we talking about, putting books together? Are we talking about, myself and Dawood, we were talking about something earlier, and we're talking about teleconferencing. We're talking about teleconferencing. Can we use that technology to teach? To teach a class of people something about Islam.
Do it every day.
That kind of thing.
Do it every day.
Exactly. We should develop something with technology in medication or instruments. Israel does all these
Yeah, they do it already.
all these things for the hospitals. Why can't Islam do that?
Because it takes vision, and the leader has vision, and that's what we're lacking.
All these
Come back to the same
equipment, is technology, and other people using it. Why can't Islam do that?
The Muslims
will doing the rehabilitation work, not the other social people. But look, the problem now we encountered, this money could support the whole Muslim, all of the masjid, but the Muslim didn't pick up on it because you know what? It catered to just a few people doing the work, and it didn't suit the bigger agenda for them. You see the problem?
Only one problem you have there. You have one problem there. Suppose the 8 you have there, 3 is homosexual now. What happened to the 5?
No, you see, the imam and everybody in the masjid were involved in the whole package, the rehabilitation.
So I think we need to, number one, have a kind of model developed. Number one, we find accommodation for the brothers. 2, we put in place whatever rehab program they need, because some may be drug addicts, some may be involved in crime, so the temptation would be lessened, right? We need to use our zakah funds, or sadaqah that use, raise to assist in financing and helping these brothers. Would include finding a job. Would include reuniting the brothers with their families. Remember, they were cut off from their family, children are big, they don't know who the father was, whatever it is. We had to do all these things as a package program to help rehab. It's a complete program to rehab one person. You cannot do one thing and find a job for him alone. You have to do all of those things. You have to have Islamic instruction, education in the program, in the institution where he's staying, where you're going to learn his deen. That's going to help him with his rehab. Would include some tarbiyah, fasting, so on, so on, so on. So all these things are part and parcel of the package the person needs to do a rehab.
What is the masjid had everything in one package?
Huh?
The masjid had everything in one package.
Key, I tell you one thing, the key is having professional people from within your community deal with them, because these brothers have to deal. These brothers had to face with cultural differences, because like I told, most of them were of Hispanic background and African background. They're coming out into a basic Asian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Arab, and nobody who know their culture. So people, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. The people who are outside, expectation of these people to rehabilitate who have been there for 25 years, don't even know what a microwave is. I saw one brother crying when he saw a donut. I asked him, I said, Ali, what's the problem? He said, Farouk, what's this? I've never seen this in ages, You cannot put these people among everybody. You have to, it's a slow process.
Right,
yes.
We step into the community. Farouk, you had a write down to man, you have it up?
Because of this.
MashaAllah, good. Okay, good. You have it here?
I still dream
I
of
want
this.
to have it on the paper too.
Those brothers here, I tell you, I fight with them. I want to go to the prison. I want to go. And you see, the brother raised a good point. Visitation.
Yes.
The brothers in prison are entitled to visitation. Yet still the guards are holding the wives outside there and trying to seduce them.
Exactly.
When the brothers are waiting for the family. You understand?
Yeah. Right.
These are problems that...
Good. So I think we on board. in that we have an idea what we need to do in terms of, number one, identifying the reason why there's so many Muslim inmates in prison. Two, the problems they experience, and whatever help we can do to rehab them while they are there, and especially when they come out.
They are failing to come together, to work together, right, and appreciate one another. And that once we so here we are in a situation where we are here working together. And as you said, you might have a deficiency in liquidity. Now that we are talking, there might be others who don't have liquidity problems and would be willing to help. And that is why the networking is what we want to generate. That is what we want to build. Right? So we want to at least get the ideas. The idea is to generate funding as everyone sees it from their particular environment. Right? We would put this together and look at all of them individually and see how, then we would do the other part. Start to look at the individual entities, what are the peculiarities, right? And which one of these could apply there or there or there. So let us focus on trying to get any idea.
Here's an idea. An idea. One idea. This idea is, I mean, we have to look at where what is, like the sister says, trending, right? Recycling is trending, okay? They're talking about energy.
In terms of developing industries that are indigenous to the particular environment. So that was covered already. And you made a reference in terms of the grenada and the spice business. So we will look at that when we reach at the next stage. We're to look at individual, but the overall point is made.
Assess what resources each of us countries can bring to the table.
Which would come in detail that part.
We're reaching there yet?
Yes.
Can I ask about the legal matter that I brought up once in Belize, that everyone has wealth, and as you get older, when I look at people in Trinidad, the Muslims here, we see them as rich. I don't see the Trinidad Muslim being poor. When people look at us in Belize as Muslim, the general population look at the Muslim like we are rich, because we are always giving away things in Ramadan and this and that, and they come around and they look at the vehicles around the masjid and say, oh, these Muslims are rich. They hear about the Arabs, they say the Muslims are rich. So everyone has money. In Belize, not the Muslim problem, the population problem. Everyone, rich or poor, dies. He has wealth, he has money in the bank, he has property, he has land, he has all types of things. Who is benefiting a lot now is the lawyer has to process whatever wealth we have that are recorded, house, property, land, business, whatever it is that has to change ownership. And then there is a legal fee, and lawyers say, you know, everyone will die and the poor will inherit, but they will get a fee.
We have any lawyers within the Muslim community?
That's what I want to ask. That is a lucrative thing.
Well, answer the question.
In our one, though?
No, we don't have in Belize.
Then what you need to do is to probably encourage somebody within the Muslim community to be a lawyer.
No, in Trinidad, there are no lawyers here.
Yeah, but they would not necessarily know the law or be able to practice in Belize.
Yeah. So the Caribbean and the British law, they're all...
Yeah, that's true. They can come. But
you have to be approved.
Actually, Belize have come here to study law.
Yeah.
They come here to study law.
But they can't apply
I have two suggestions. Please, one, anytime you're going to build a masjid or an Islamic center, if the area is in a commercial area, what you need to do, build stores downstairs, make stores for renting to sustain the masjid, and the surplus can go to help individuals. If it is not in a commercial area, make sure you make a basement whereby you can rent it as a storeroom. Okay? Dig it deep enough to make 10 feet, whereby it can be a storeroom. Right? Or if you can't dig it, make it the first floor, a storeroom. Down the road, you can turn it into a school or something else. but it should be rented out, ready for sustaining the masjid. And surplus gold. On the individual basis, the other bigger islands, bigger communities, when there's a disaster, like we went through in Dominica, Erica, we got a lot of assistance from Trinidad sent a container of things, of food. Barbados, money. Martinique, money. Grenada, money. Okay, this major one, we had a lot of money. It's a temporary disaster. Poverty is a longer disaster. I think my suggestion is that those places, that smaller islands that are people are in abject poverty, seriously, what you need to do, identify individuals that can be trained, because there's a lot of skills out there.
Alright. I hear from you.
I want them to sell. Okay, also the next one.
I said, well, everybody have their own individual needs and so on, right? So at this forum, we really can't really discuss all the individual needs and what everybody needs and so on, who's going to help, what and so on. So I think we just get into the basic principles here, and from the general principles, then we will be able to move forward. You know. Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Who of you is familiar with the CDB system? CDB, Caribbean Development Bank System, the lending system. I've been 2 years in project management, and the way how they work is like this. Suriname borrows money from CDB. Let's say if they borrow 20 million US dollars, Suriname will have to pay 25 million back. So if I look at the title, and that is financial sustainability of Islamic work, it involves fund generation of money. It also revolving money. So that is what we have to aim at. What we can do is work like the CDB. You make or you establish a Caribbean Union for Islamic work or Islamic cooperation. How does it work? To my perspective, it works like this, that the Caribbean country, they reach a consensus to form a body. All the Caribbean countries contributing in this is a shareholder or a stakeholder. So you will then submit an amount of money to this body, and every Caribbean country or any organization in that country wanting to borrow money, you will have to follow some procedures like the CDB does. What do they do? If you, for instance, like a masjid, you want to start a agricultural project, this union will come to you and train you how to do that, because you will have to work project-based, and that is the most effective way, project-based. So I know as a union that
We can
No.
delete stuff.
See,
We
by
can't
the-
stop it.
The chain is stuck by me. I don't go for that. I don't deal with that. Well, no, I read it. I read
Be careful with chain letters.
I read almost everything.
Yeah.
But if it says send to trip, I just say that, send to. Let go. Stuff like
So
that.
basically, and I think if anybody should ask questions, which they will be able to do, I think we can answer what we had discussed here. So, Jazakallah Mala Bikai, we think we have done what we are supposed to do. Okay.
Responsibility and what was the other thing? General awareness and responsibility to determine the authenticity. It's not just to determine it, but also to know how to the awareness and the responsibility in order to know how to deal with it. You can check the authenticity, but also because of your responsibility, you deal with it in a certain way. It's not just check, is it authentic, yes or no, but also how do you deal with it based on your responsibility and your awareness.
Determine its authenticity or not, or how not authentic it is, then you will determine whether you can consume or use that information as authentic.
Yeah. Okay, you will see that, right? Look, general awareness and responsibility to make sure the information they send and receive is authentic and how to deal with it.
And how to deal with it. Absolutely. So I think I want to thank all of you because I think we have a good and lively discussion. We can stop here. We can tell the coordinator that we did our job.
Okay, so group 1, if it is that you can come forward, inshallah.
Bismillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum. The topic given to us to discuss was Muslims in prison. Now, when we talk about Muslims in prison, we're referring here to both men and women. The ideas that came to mind that we discussed were, first, the reasons why people are incarcerated, Muslims are incarcerated, problems in our society, problems that they may encounter in the prison, proposals, that we can help them while they're in prison, and the rehabilitation outside of prison. There were many ideas that were tossed around, and alhamdulillah, the input from the brothers, mashallah, not that they were incarcerated, but they feel it here inside for the brothers and sisters who have been incarcerated and who are presently incarcerated. Some of the problems that we discussed, and we agreed, the reasons why we have this prison population, Muslim prison population, alcohol and drugs, gang-related activities, theft, domestic violence, and a big problem is bail because of the societal framework, and these brothers aren't as privileged as many. When they get themselves in this problem, there's nobody behind them to help with the bail. So these are some of the problems that we discussed, the reasons why the brothers end up in prison. In the second point, the problems that they encounter in prison, there are many. There are many in the sense that depending on the country of origin, the country that we're talking about, mostly in the Caribbean islands, you don't have proper, first and foremost, the constitutional rights are fringed. And there is no support from outside to educate them while inside that, hey, look, this is your rights and you're being trampled upon. You may not be able to vote in prison, but you have the right to practice your religion. Now, so with that being said, they don't allow you proper food, halal food. You don't have a library with halal, with Islamic material to help you, with your social, to help you with the problems while you're inside there, because you need that comfort. And in order for a Muslim to be in his comfort zone, he must have the resources to make him feel comfortable, which he's denied. And under all of the constitution, I'm sure in the Caribbean islands, freedom to practice your religion is part of the constitution. So we don't have the constitution being upheld in the prison, and we don't have the support to educate the brothers on their rights. Halal food, you don't have a library, violation of your rights, problems in prison, homosexuality. It's common amongst the sisters and the brothers, right? So we talked about this, we talked about some ideas how we could help, and some of the things that we can help on the outside for them on the inside is to provide them with that support. Food. I remember where I worked, there was one Jewish guy, and every single month, that one guy would receive a big box of kosher products. And we weren't seeing that with the Muslims. The Muslims, on the other hand, when time comes for Eid, they were denied the right to practice, the right to celebrate the two celebrations that, as Muslims, we are allowed and we're supposed to. And the lame, I don't want to be rude, but the lame-ass excuse that the governor then came up with was, you know, health reasons, safety, food, all kind of stupidness. And we told them, listen, this is after the fact. The freedom to practice your religion is first. We'll deal with everything else after, you know. And we took him all the way up and we got them the rights to take the food in the prison and enjoy the Eid. The problem has to be addressed. Some of it is long-term, some of it is short-term. Visitation rights. Visitation rights. In Trinidad, I hear of people, women, the ladies are being seduced by the guard outside. The window of opportunity to visit your husband or your wife in prison is small. You stand outside, there's a canvas tent. You're baking in the sun or getting wet in the rain. Where's the representation? Everybody is mum about it. Nobody wants to say anything because it may create some political rift or whatever. But are we Muslims first? Are we Muslims first? And these are the things that we have to question ourselves. We are failing them in there. What can we do about it? We have to be more, the sister earlier talked about being proactive. We aren't proactive. We're reactive. When something happened, then we're going to blabber and make a bunch of noise about it and to no end, you know. And then we get with 15 minutes of fame with the media and then, oh, this one is an advocate or whatever. But the fact of the matter, the situation wasn't addressed. I hope the brother at the wrong table or the brothers at the wrong table is addressing some of these issues. Because first and foremost, we are Muslims, we are Muslims, we are Muslims. Remember that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the Ummah is one. And the brother keep talking, the agenda is the what is it? We're talking about the conversation. Is the conversation being conversed in the direction it ought to be? We have a problem with brothers going to ISIS and what have you. They may be incarcerated. What can we do? I have a 2-minute note here. Some of the other topics that you all got, you can go to university and study it. This situation here is a real situation. You don't go to university to know how to address this. This here has to come from the heart. The prison system throughout the world and sooner or later in Trinidad, it's an industry. It's managed by people who only looking at the depth of the pockets. So we have to be, again, proactive. We have to address this situation. We have to empower the community in learning how to deal with rehabilitation, psychology of the prisoners. You cannot have these brothers and sisters coming out of prison and you throw them at the wolves. When I say wolves, Muslims who don't understand in the first place why they were there, what were the experiences inside, and now that they're outside, how can we deal with them? The situation that they may have encountered inside there, one more minute, I know he's going to come and tell me one more minute. You know, this is long-term, Aki, and I hope that this would perk some of the members here interest that we need to. This is dawah, they ain't going nowhere. You have what the brother corrected me, you have a captive audience there. And we can develop on this, and we need to, they are our brothers and sisters, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. I hope we could continue this discussion. Assalamu alaikum.
Now for this workshop to mean something and not just us discussing ideas, it's important that we document to begin with all that we have been discussing. So if I can ask all of the speakers who will be coming to present a written report by the end of tomorrow of their discussion. That is critical in terms of if it is that we were to address the problems. It doesn't make sense we talk about it here, we will forget about it. If we document it, then we can begin to look at each one of them and see how it is that we can address them, inshallah. So that is an important element of this discussion group, inshallah. So if I can move on to Brother Hafiz's group, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. I first of all want to compliment the group of brothers that I worked with. They all had brilliant ideas, and we did document them, and I'd just like to run through them. First, we were dealing with the financial sustainability of Dawah within the Caribbean. And the first thing that they said in terms of developing financial stability is we have to change our psyche and how we see financial situations. Too many times we are looking for handouts, and there are a lot of other innovative ways which we came up with that we could deal with those situations. So as Dr. Totunji mentioned, that we have to be good beggars to start with. So that is a given. So we have to be not only local but international. So that was one area that we checked. So the psychological review of our own mindset has to be a key factor. Secondly, there has to be in the teaching of Islamic knowledge, an element has to be business acumen. So therefore, those who are teaching Islam has to be able to teach that too. And it is a critical part of us becoming independent and being able to be sustainable in our financial affairs. Third, the use of zakat. Zakat is supposed to be used to put brothers or sisters in a position where eventually they would be able to pay zakat and not just handouts. So the use of zakat is an important factor. Sometimes we see our brothers and they would have skills, and if we are able to train them, do up a business plan with them in a particular area that they have expertise in, and then give them funding to be able to start a business, that is the way we should really be able to use zakat to create sustainability. Training in different areas, as in one case in Belize, they said that the Muslim community is small, they don't have a lawyer, but lawyer fees are exorbitant. So if we're able to utilize and train, there would be situations where we are able to save that kind of expense that we have for using lawyers within the community, and have additional funding to be able to do things that we need to do. Islamic financial services, just like we have the Muslim Credit Union, they should have one. And all of these were focused really on the networking issue. The fact that we have a number of different scenarios and jurisdictions that we deal with. There might be shortages in one and oversupply in the other. So we could use those, the networking that we have developed here to be able to complement one another and develop the Muslim community within the Caribbean. There are also development opportunities for investments within the different jurisdictions, and if they could identify it, then again with our networking, we should be able to find the investment funding to be able to develop those industries and help the Muslim communities in those jurisdictions. And we looked at a regional financial institution that could facilitate all these, even if it means a secretariat for the Caribbean for this network. Those were the areas that we looked at and thought that they could really have a significant impact on being able to financially sustain the development of the Muslim community throughout the Caribbean. Jazakallah, Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah, Brother Hafiz. I think you have some very important points that you have raised. Inshallah, I think there are lots to think about and for us to do, inshallah. Because I think that's one of the critical areas that we need to address, especially when it comes to the Caribbean islands. So if I can move on to the third groups, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, compliments. I want to add something first to the first speaker. I don't know if it's relevant in this case, but I think we should also think about the international Muslim prisoners, which are dealt with total injustice without any case sometimes. And also, I think that Muslim countries maybe should make some policies of a deal so Muslim prisoners can be put in other countries, because sometimes they are in places where they are being treated very unfair. Think about our brothers in Cuba, etc. Leveraging technology for Islamic work. We agree with this point. We should use technology, for instance, for the propagation. We can use WhatsApp, internet, apps, moon sighting, media. In fact, plenty of these things we are using already. But there's also a danger. Everybody can put false information on the internet. We have to be very careful before we use that. Even Muslims are putting stuff which is negative for Islam. We should search for the authenticity and verify the information. There should be a general awareness and responsibility to make sure the information they send and receive is authentic, and we should know how to deal with it. We can use it for several things: for memorization, Qibla direction, for enhanced learning. Also, converts can use for examples like learning wudu, etc. It would be good if there would be a list of reputable websites. Now these days we also see very much chain letters. Also be careful with it. It can also be used to record history with permission, if possible, and stored properly for historical needs. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah, brother. I think this topic of leveraging technology is something that really we need to be able to utilize. There are so many things that we can do at the Caribbean level without actually being physically present. Just to give you a simple example, I work on a daily basis between two hospitals, and every day we have meeting between two hospitals, even though that we're not physically present there. And it's something which has become the norm now. So it means that even though we might be coming from 25 countries, or we might have Muslims from 35 countries, perhaps the way forward to be able to take a lot of what we are doing now is to do it on a website, on webinars. There's no reason why we cannot establish weekly webinars. There's no reason why we can't establish forums online whereby we can keep on discussing ideas, sharing ideas. There's no reason why we can't share information and share good practice by using the internet, by setting up dedicated sites that we can refer to regularly. All of these things can be done with hardly any resources required. To set up a website takes pennies, and those pennies can go a long way in terms of being able to do so much. The way information is changing now, even books are becoming outdated to the point whereby you can utilize online courses and online training. One of the projects that we are working with IIIT on is a project to be able to develop personal and skill development courses which are purpose-driven and changing, wanting to bring change to wider society, making platforms which are open source, accessible to all at virtually no cost. And this is something which is doable. It can be done. You can be sitting, listening, interacting, working with some of the best minds in different parts of the world, simply in the comfort of your own home. This is a reality. This is something that we can do. And this is something we hope to put into motion, inshallah, by next year when we launch our program under IIIT, inshallah. So this whole area, in terms of this, will reduce our financial requirements significantly in terms of what we can do. So this is something we can work on, inshallah. So if I can ask the sisters, inshallah, to come forward now for their presentation.
Assalamu alaikum. Alright, you hearing me now? You hearing me now? Alright. Alright, so we were looking at financial stability in Islam of financial stability of Islamic work in the Caribbean. And I know another group also looked at that. What we were looking at is ways to give dawah and maintain the ability of giving dawah and promote Islam while funding it ourselves as small countries. Yes, we do have to ask and maybe sometimes beg for donations, but we also have skills that we can trade to finance dawah ourselves. Some of the ideas that we had was one that comes from education, where we teach a curriculum, but there's always the hidden curriculum, things that students learn from us as teachers, where they learn our morals, our values, the things that we portray without actually consider teaching them that. So we said that we could offer our skills. One of the sisters today talked about how we make samosas, how we can cook. If we offer our skills to non-Muslims, our delicacies to non-Muslims, to cater, they can come and learn, they will pay us a fee, but we will also be given dawah when we stop to read our salah at 5 o'clock, in the way we interact with them. So we will be earning money that we can invest in further dawah, and we will be given dawah with the way we behave and the way we portray ourselves. A lot of people, especially in Trinidad, show that they would like to learn Arabic as a language. We don't teach the Quran for money, but we could teach our Arabic language. We can trade that skill for money, which you could use to promote further dawah. Suriname says that one of the sisters are from Suriname, they say at their masjid, the sisters come together and they bake bread and have sales, like cake sales. A lot of non-profit organizations do that, and they reinvest the money into their organizations. We can also do that. Another thing is, Suleiman had said they export the hafiz during the time of Ramadan. We can use that same skill, that same networking skill, and export to each other's countries our different skills that we have, different traditions that we have to teach to each other. So let's say Suriname might be famous for something and they can teach that skill. We bring it here to Trinidad and we ask non-Muslims to pay for that skills. We can even ask Muslims to pay for that skills. That money we can reinvest in dawah. All these are different forms and methods that we can use to earn income, but along with, like the brother mentioned, using our zakat to promote a man to learn instead of teaching a man to fish instead of feeding him fish. So all these are things that we can use in place of to promote earning income and sustaining dawah in our Islamic circle. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, inshallah. So we just have a couple of minutes again. Is there anybody who would like to say anything in particular? Dr. Brother Hafiz? Okay. Waqf as an area of, yes. Brother Dawood, you want to come forward? So I'll leave Brother Dawood to summarize our discussion and say some words, inshallah. Come in front. That one not working properly.
Just saw the brother from Suriname in the third group made an interesting point, which I thought I should underline somewhat. He mentioned, internationalizing the cases of prisoners or looking at international prisoners. Now, I think, first of all avenues should be exhausted locally. All avenues in terms of improving the condition of these prisoners and securing their rights in the system. And failing that, then we can go to institutions like Amnesty International. Let them come and review the system. Let them do a fact-finding mission, collect data. You see, they may be, in a sense, more impartial than a local group. It's up to the brothers here to assess it. Other international human rights bodies can play a role, a supportive role in this regard. And I just thought, it might be one area to consider on the prisoner issue in improving their conditions and securing their rights going forward.
Inshallah. Jazakallah. Brother Aliasa, the final word, inshallah. Come forward.
Assalamu alaikum. I just want to make about 2 points, inshallah. One point I did in fact make when we were summarizing our discussion we had on Muslim in prison. And I feel that sometimes they have been a forgotten people. And that we need now to, as Muslims, reinstitute our care and well-being for those inmates in prison who, if they get the right training, the right orientation, the right help, the correct rehab, they can perhaps become better Muslims than me and you. That's one. Two, we have to remember that our Uswatun Hasana, he took a bunch of people who in fact were guilty of all sorts of crimes, did his rehab program, and after 23 years, he produced role models that have not been equal in terms of character after 14 centuries. So we have an example of a man coming to the country, doing his work, and producing some of the best persons. I think we also need to make some changes with the established institution which is here. We have been trying for the longest while to get into the prison and deal with inmates who are there, because we have had one traditional group of people interfacing with the inmates, while the majority of inmates of African descent, and sometimes they speak on two different levels. And wallahi, up to this day, brothers of African descent, no matter what qualification you have, how much experience you have in terms of dawah to inmates, Muslims of African descent, they have been debarred, whether by policy or otherwise, from entering the prison and interfacing with the people, because their needs are similar to ours, their background are similar to others as compared to our brothers from the East Indian descent. This is the reality. Okay? So I have been trying with the established authority, ASHA, to get myself and other brothers involved in prison rehabilitation. And to this day, after years of pleading with them, I went once, signed up a form, and I was told by the people in ASHA, I'll be called, I can give khutbah, so and so and so and so. And up to this day, July the, what it is, 11th, whatever day it is, I have not been asked to go and do any rehab work. And the brothers who I met in remand yard were begging, literally begging for brothers to come and help them with the Islam, with the correct orientation, with help outside, but to connect with their families. And subhanAllah. So I'm pleading to whoever it is here to use the influence to get ASHA to give some leeway to allow brothers who can make a difference in the lives of the inmates who are in prison, both male and female.
Okay, with that, inshallah, so we take a break now, inshallah, and we resume at 5 p.m. for the next session.